Today's review is a house beer from one of my favourite breweries, Beak Brewery. This is Parade. It's an IPA, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're reviewing a beer from Beak Brewery. Those of you that watch the channel will know that I'm a big fan of Beak Brewery. I think they've made some really great beers. They're consistently good beers. But when it comes to consistency, this is basically where it all started. This is their house IPA called Parade. Now, I have had this a few times, but for some reason I've never reviewed it on the channel. I don't know why I've never reviewed it. It's always been that beer that I must have just grabbed and thought, oh, I just want a beer and have that and forget to review it. And I've reviewed quite a few Beak, but let's see how Parade, how it rates in terms of this being a house beer. So this is a beer that you can get quite a, you'll be able to get all through the year and make it obviously quite regularly. There actually is a triple IPA version of it that's 10%, an amped up version. I haven't had that. But this has got Citra, Mosaic and Idaho 7 and it's 6%. So let's get it in a glass and see what it's all about. I always think that any brewery that keeps making one beer just thinks, well, we've smashed it with this one. It's definitely a beer that we know how to make, so let's brew it again. I've ruined this review by pouring it too quickly. It's the anticipation of wanting to drink it. So beer in a glass, not as sort of opaque and hazy as you would expect or compare with their other IPAs. We've got a sort of orange with a slight haze, but it's not overly hazy. Yeah, ignore the three fingers of just off Whitehead there. That will soon go away, I dare say. Let's see what the aroma's like. Yeah, you're getting all those aromas that you'd expect. The Mosaic's you get that sort of bubblegummy sort of aroma. The Idaho 7, a Citra bringing sort of citrus fruits, mango and passion fruit, tropical fruits. It's just a great mixture of aromas, really. So let's see what the drink tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit different than a lot of the IPAs we've had from them. It's not as soft, I don't think, in the mouthfeel. It's got a slight zing to it, but because of that zing, it's got a real fresh, zesty, and it makes it a very sort of drinkable. It almost drinks more like a pale ale than an IPA. You've got lots of refreshment. It's very light. It's very fruity. It's a very solid IPA. I think that they make better IPAs than this. I think that this is very much at the sort of, it's a hybrid. Yeah, there's a lot more sort of carbonation in this beer than a lot of their other beers. It's not got the sort of the oat wheat profile that I like more in an IPA, but it's a very refreshing beer. It's a very drinkable beer. It's the sort of beer that you'd think, oh, I could drink that all day on draft. It's got a real refreshment to it, but it's not too overly heavy. It's not got too much chewy dankness to it. It's quite a light, citrusy sort of beer, and it's solid. It's why it's a house beer. It's a very solid beer. I think that they also do another beer that I've seen quite a few times, but they have different versions of it called Locals. That's the other one that you see a lot of. But compare with some of their other beers, it's good, but it's not. I don't think this showcases how good Beak can be. It's a recommended sort of beer. It's definitely a good beer, but it's not really an extra special great beer. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Parade by Beak Brewery. This is their house IPA with Citra, Mosaic and Idaho 7, 6% ABV. It's not bad. It's a good, solid IPA, but Beak have made better IPAs. So let's get the scores. Starting with aroma. Appearance. Flavour. Value for money. This one was just under a £5. and my overall experience. Tighten the scores up, we get a total score of, yeah, it's a recommended beer. It's not, as I've said, it's not as good as a lot of the Beak beers. It's just a very solid beer. And I think if you've had Beak beer, there's a high chance that you've probably had this beer. See how it looks better in the glass now. I've poured it better in the subsequent pours. It's a solid, good IPA. It's better than most IPAs you get in the supermarkets, but Beak have done better, and I think they will continue to sort of push the boat out and do better stuff. So you can't judge their quality, I don't think, by this house beer. We've had certainly better beers on the channel this year and last year from Beak, but it's solid, it's good. So let me know what you think. You've had it. I'm sure if you've had a Beak beer, you've probably had this one before. How does this rate? You don't get that many breweries that have a one core beer. You know, a lot of them keep changing it up all the time. I mean, even Polly's, they do have this, what they call augment range, which is like about 4 or 5, and then a couple of others that are core range. They've got like an IPA, a Pale Ale, and a West Coast. But really, they're all about all the different stuff, really. And I think that their better beers are the stuff that they keep changing and doing small batches of, and then doing something different each time. And I think that's the same with this one. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please give it a thumbs up if you like the content that I am providing for you. And until the next one, you know what you're going to do. Keep on rocking.